What's going on, Nasteey Nation? It's Nasteey, and in today's video I'll be going over my top 10 best bot lane combos. Do keep in mind though that this list will not be in any particular order. The combos on this list are all really strong duos that all synergize really well together, and they can all be extremely effective depending on the current meta of the game. If you do go on to enjoy this video, feel free to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. With all that being said, that should just about wrap up this little introduction, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Now to start this video off, let's first talk about one of the most obvious combos, which is none other than Xayah and Rakan. Xayah and Rakan were the first champions to ever be introduced into the game with the intentions of them being a powerful bot lane duo. Since their release, Senna has also been introduced into the game to pair with Lucian, but even that combo can't compare to the strength of Xayah and Rakan. As you'll go on to see from the rest of this list, most every strong bot lane combo synergizes well together by luck, but for Xayah and Rakan in this particular situation, these champions were specifically designed to work well with one another. Rakan provides the peel to make up for Xayah's lack of mobility, the engage to set up for Xayah's attack speed burst, and the crowd control to set up for a layered combo along with Xayah's E. And if all of that wasn't enough, these champions have a bonus passive whenever they are paired together on the same team. This includes a faster recall on Rakan's passive, and more attack speed and damage for Rakan whenever Xayah uses her W. At least at the time of me recording and making this video, Xayah and Rakan aren't a super popular bot lane duo, but given their synergy and the history that they have together, they will always remain to be one of the most powerful and iconic bot lane combos in the entire game. The next bot lane combo on my list is Lucian and Braum. Although Braum and Lucian may not have been introduced into the game at the same time, and they might not have the same impact that Xayah and Rakan have, they are still a very strong and well-known bot lane combo. These two champions work exceptionally well together due to the synergy in their passives. Basically, Braum's passive allows him to mark any enemy he has hit, and if a marked target is hit a total of 4 times, then they are then stunned. Lucian's passive, on the other hand, enables him to auto-attack twice following any spell that he casts, so as you might be able to put together or start to imagine, these passives when combined together makes stunning the enemy extremely easy to accomplish. All it takes is something along the lines of a Braum Q to get the fight started, a simple auto E double auto attack from Lucian, and then the stun is procced that easily. Later in the game, any ADC with an attack speed item can proc this stun very easy, but Lucian is the only ADC in the game who can do it super efficient, starting the game at level 1. Again, this combo may not be as well known as something like Xayah and Rakan, but it's been a combo that's been around the League community for a few years now, and it's still an extremely strong and efficient combo. So far on this list, we've only talked about popular and well-known bot lane combos. So for this next combo on my list, I want to mix things up a little bit, and I'd like to talk a little bit about Yasuo and Alistar bot lane. Yasuo in general isn't a champion that you're probably too excited to see when he's on your team more times than not, but if a Yasuo is on your team, you might as well try to play around it. Yasuo in the ADC role has become more and more popular over the years, and it actually is a pretty strong pick when paired with the right support. I would consider Yasuo bot lane to be a very ballsy pick that basically wants to fight a lot early and all in a lot, and eventually snowball the game. On the other hand, Alistar matches this playstyle perfectly due to his combo, which allows him to all in at a very early level. Most people don't really look at Alistar as an early game support, but if you are able to pair him with an early game ADC, it's really easy to go for all-ins and make plays early on. He gets his combo at level 2, allowing him to WQ in, and his E at level 3 makes it so that you have that additional CC on top of that, so his early levels are actually incredibly strong. So essentially, with all that being said, Alistar has one of the most reliable AoE knockups in the entire game from a very early level, which can make for some insane wombo combos when combined with Yasuo's ultimate. It's a very niche situation, but if you see the opportunity, I would highly recommend giving Alistar and Yasuo a try down in the bot lane. For the next bot lane combo on my list, I have Caitlyn and Morgana. This is another classic bot lane combo that I'm sure you've seen at some point in time. It's a combo that you might have played at some point in time just for the hell of it, but this is the combo that you definitely don't want to be playing up against because of how incredibly frustrating it can be. So Caitlyn does have her E, which is her net ability, so she's definitely not the most immobile ADC in the game, but she's not the most mobile either. And Morgana being the ultimate counter to crowd control helps a lot when it comes to keeping her alive. This is definitely a strength of theirs that plays a big factor in teamfights later in the game, but the biggest strength of all comes from their layered CC combo in the early game. Morgana's binding is one of the longest snares in the entire game, making it extremely easy for Caitlyn to then follow up with a trap. All it takes at an early level is a snare from Morgana, a trap on top of that from Caitlyn, and some basic mechanics in between that, and you can easily get yourself an early kill. If you've ever seen this bot lane combo, then you already understand just how broken this combo can be. The early damage and the layered CC that you can get from these two champions together from such an early point in the game is extremely frustrating to play against, and most people will die from this combo without ever getting the chance to move. The next bot lane combo that I want to talk about is Kog'maw and Lulu. This isn't a combo that is too popular as much these days, but a few seasons ago this was a combo that you would see just about every other game. Kog'maw is a super immobile ADC who doesn't really do a whole lot early game, but can become a monster in the late game. Lulu, on the other hand, is the type of support that just likes to play around a carry and kind of buff them up, and she's also the type of champion that scales well into the late game. Together, Lulu will basically just provide the peel that allows Kog'maw to farm throughout the early game, and the two champions together won't do a whole lot for the first 20 minutes, but once late game comes around, all Lulu has to do is sit back behind the Kog'maw, buff him up, shield him, apply some attack speed, and Kog'maw basically just has to right click and he will literally tear through everybody. It's an extremely frustrating combo to play against, which is why we probably haven't seen it as much these days, because Riot did nerf it a while ago and they are kind of resisting bringing it back, so hopefully we don't see it again, but nevertheless this is still a pretty powerful bot lane combo, and when it's meta, it's extremely powerful and frustrating to deal with. The next bot lane combo that I want to talk about is another odd one, kind of similar to the Alistar Yasuo combo that we talked about earlier, but this one is going to be Jhin ADC and Xerath support. This is a combo that you probably haven't seen all too often, but this is a combo that I have actually practiced quite a bit. I do play it quite a bit on stream, and I've made some videos on it in the past. Essentially, these champions when combined together are just extremely difficult to play against because of how long range they are and how much they can poke you down. At first glance, they may not seem that great or too difficult to deal with because they're both very immobile champions that can die really easily if you're able to get on top of them, but that's just the problem. These champions will stand so incredibly far back that you'll never get the chance to ever get on top of them. Another very frustrating thing about playing against this bot lane combo is when their ults are used at the exact same time. Trying to dodge 3 to 5 Xerath ultis and 4 shots from Jhin's ulti at the same time is near impossible, and if you're able to land at least one of the Jhin ultis, that's going to apply slow, making everything increasingly easier after that. Again, this may not sound like a super strong bot lane combo at first glance, but I'd highly recommend giving it a try because it can be extremely oppressive. The next bot lane combo that I want to talk about is Leona and Miss Fortune. I won't spend too much time talking about this bot lane combo just because there isn't too much special about it. They just happen to have one good combo that synergizes really well together, and even though that's all that they have, it's enough to make a lot of damage. Essentially, Leona has one of the longest CC chains in the entire game, and also is one of the most reliable CC chains in the game. She has 3 abilities that apply hard CC, and all Miss Fortune needs to do in order to put out a lot of damage is get a full channel off on her ulti. So obviously when you pair these two champions together, if Leona goes in and she's able to get a full CC combo, then Miss Fortune can essentially channel the entirety of her ultimate, getting out a ton of damage, never even needing to use any other ability or auto attack or anything like that. And you can pretty much wipe out entire teams if you're able to catch a lot of people in this ultimate and in these CC chains. Again, like I said, I won't talk about this combo too much because that's really all that there is to it, but it's still an extremely strong combo. The next bot lane combo that I want to talk about is Senna support and Varus ADC. Now, if I had made this video about a month ago, this combo probably wouldn't have been featured on this video, but recently Lethality Varus has made kind of a little bit of a comeback in the meta, and when pairing that pick with Senna, they could be extremely frustrating to play against. These champions will basically just completely bully you out of lane between their sustain and their poke. So even though they may appear to be pretty immobile champions, you'll never actually get the chance to punish them because you're going to be forced out of lane or forced under your tower extremely quickly. At the same time, both of these champions scale pretty well into the late game, so they won't fall off after having an oppressive early game. They'll continue to be extremely annoying and difficult to play against in the later stages of the game. Up next, I want to talk about Thresh and Tristana bot lane. This is another combo that just wants to play extremely aggressive early on. Even though Tristana is an ADC that has potential to scale and be a monster in the later stages of the game, she definitely has a lot of potential to play aggressive in the lane phase, and Thresh is kind of in the same boat. Even though he can also make plays later in the game, early game he can also be extremely oppressive. When you pair these two champions together, they're going to be extremely frustrating to play against throughout the entire game. When Thresh is able to walk up and land hooks in the early game, in the lane phase, Tristana is able to jump on top of that, follow up, and get kills. Later in the game, it's going to be the exact same situation, and you're also going to have to deal with Tristana having her jump, and also the lantern on top of that to get her out of sticky situations in the later stages of the game. So overall, this duo is just going to be in your face, jumping all over the place, CCing you all the time, always looking to make picks, and that's why this combo can be extremely frustrating to play against. Now finally, the 10th and last combo that I want to talk about is going to be Janna and Jinx. This is kind of the exact opposite of a lot of the combos that I've talked about so far in this list. In comparison to something like Thresh and Tristana or Braum and Lucian, these champions aren't the type of champions that are going to want to be in your face in the early game and the lane phase. They're not going to try to poke, they're not going to try to CC and look for early skirmishes. More than anything, they're just going to look to farm it out. It's kind of similar to the Kog'maw and Lulu strat. Basically, Jinx is a really strong champion once you can get a couple items on her, so the entire goal here is just to try to get Jinx to late game. Janna at the same time is a support that I guess has a little potential to be in your face and annoying in the lane phase. She can definitely poke you down a little bit, but she's not going to look for all-ins. Overall though, she's a good pair for Jinx because she has a lot more peel than someone like Lulu has. She has the shield, she has the knockback from her ultimate, she has healing from her ultimate, she has a slow from her W, so overall she pairs really well with Jinx, allowing her to farm and get to late game where they can work together. Janna can keep Jinx alive, and Jinx can put out a ton of damage once she gets a couple items under her belt. Well, alright then, ladies and gentlemen, well that should just about wrap up the end of this video. I hope you guys did go on to enjoy it or find it helpful. If you did, then be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Thank you guys so much for watching to the end of this one. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next one.